There was once a man named Elier, known throughout his village as the one who prayed the most. Every morning before the sun rose, he lit a small oil lamp, knelt beside it, and spoke softly to God. He prayed for guidance, for clarity, for answers to the troubles of his heart. And every day, he waited. But God never spoke. Elier wasn't angry, only confused. He wondered why others claimed to feel God's presence easily while he felt nothing but silence. One evening, after a difficult day working in the fields, Elier climbed the small hill behind his home where he often sat alone. The sky was painted with fading gold and deepening blue. He looked up and whispered his usual prayer. "God, are you there? Why won't you answer me? What am I doing wrong?" Only the wind moved. Only the grass shifted. Only silence replied. Feeling discouraged, Elier made a decision. "If I cannot hear God here, then I will go where others have heard him." So he packed a small bag and began a journey to different places of prayer. First, he traveled to a grand temple deep in the forest, where monks spent years in meditation. Elier stayed for days, sitting among them in complete stillness. But all he heard was the quiet beating of his own heart. No voice. No sign. Nothing. Next, he climbed a mountain known for its sacred echoes. People said that if you called out with a pure heart, the mountain returned an answer from God. Elier called out until his voice trembled and cracked. But the mountain only returned the same empty echo. Why? 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 He sat down on the cold rock, feeling small and forgotten. Still, he did not give up. His third journey took him through a desert. Travelers told him that those who walked its endless sands often met visions sent by God. Elier walked under the burning sun, waiting, hoping. But the only visions he saw were mirages of water he couldn't drink and shadows of trees that vanished when he approached. By the end of the third week, Elier was exhausted, lonely, and full of questions. He sat under a dying tree in the desert and whispered, "Why won't you speak to me? Why must I search so far for a single word?" But again, silence. Elier lowered his head, tears falling into the sand. That night, too tired to continue, he lay on his back beneath the vast desert sky. For the first time in weeks, he stopped praying. He stopped asking. He stopped searching. He simply breathed and looked at the stars. Thousands of them, glowing softly like candles placed in the heavens. The silence felt different now. Not empty, but peaceful. As he watched the sky, a new thought rose quietly inside him. Maybe God is not silent. Maybe I am too loud. Asterisk. He closed his eyes and let his thoughts drift away like leaves on water. Minutes passed. Then hours. And in that deep stillness, he felt something gentle, something softer than a whisper, yet stronger than the wind. A presence. A warmth. A knowing. Not a voice he could hear with his ears, but one he could feel in the very center of his being. The presence spoke without words, and the message entered his heart clearly. "My child, I have never been silent. You were simply listening for noise. While I speak through stillness." Elier opened his eyes, tears streaming down his face, not from sorrow, but from understanding. God had not ignored him. He had been answering all along. Through sunsets, through echoes, through quiet moments, through the very breath Elier carried inside him. Elier realized then that God's voice was not something that came from the outside. It was something awakened on the inside. The next morning, he began the long journey home. But this time, he didn't pray with desperation. He prayed with gratitude. He didn't search for signs. He recognized them everywhere. When the wind brushed his cheek, he felt comfort. When the sun warmed his skin, he felt love. When the silence settled around him, he felt God. When he returned to his village, the people noticed a deep calm in his eyes. Someone asked him, "Did God finally speak to you?" Elier smiled and replied, "God has always spoken. I just needed to learn how to listen." And from that day on, he became a peaceful presence wherever he went, not because he had all the answers, but because he had finally found the quiet place where answers grow. Inside the silence. Inside the waiting. Inside himself.